Good morning. It is 7:38 here in Memphis, Tennessee. Getting ready to head out. Next stop is Wichita, Kansas, at least overnight stop. It's 544 miles, about 9 hours of pure riding. So obviously we'll have to work some brakes in there to keep it safe. It should definitely be less than 12, so that'll make it much more tolerable today. We'll see how it goes. Well, I had to stop at the Arkansas Welcome Center shortly after getting out of Memphis in Tennessee. Memphis in general, not a great place. I was warned about that by some of the other riders, one that was from Memphis, said it was a high crime rate area. A lot of things there were in disrepair, and the people were not particularly courteous at the gas station. They wouldn't let me use the restroom despite purchasing gas there, and then also you couldn't just fill up your tank. You had to prepay and guess how much it was going to take. So of course you underestimate it so you don't overpay for gas you can't use. Thankfully for this little Versus, it was only about $10 for mostly full tank, so that worked out pretty well. But not a huge fan of Memphis from this trip. Obviously I visited just one little small area, so maybe not a fair representation. All right, time to get back on the road. Okay, it's about 4:26 p.m. We've been in Kansas for a while now, and almost comically, about a mile after I was told by my GPS I was in Kansas, a really strong north wind gusted and was another way to welcome me to Kansas. Last week, on the way out, headed east, I had to lean the bike left for hours on end because of the continuous strong north wind. Didn't get as strong yet, but of course I'm in the eastern part of Kansas. As I get further west, I expect it may get worse. But if anything, that may just help even out any uneven tire wear that was happening from the trip out. The other thing was a bit surprising that kind of confused me a bit. That was at the Arkansas-Missouri border. I bumped into a couple of Harley guys, and they were admiring my bike, saying how they wish they had a bike like mine so it would be more comfortable. I always thought Harleys were renowned for their comfort. People talk about riding like a sofa on the freeway, but he was complaining about his hand vibrating and having all sorts of problems too, and they were envious of my bike. So I guess that confuses me about when folks say the Harley cruisers are so comfortable. I'm not sure. And he had a big, nice, newer, one of those glides, street glide, electric glide, road glide, something like that. But for some reason, he wasn't very comfortable on it for their long trips. So it was kind of fun to see them envious of my bike. And then one more little problem I'm going to show you here in just a moment. So in one of my other, I think my first video, I mentioned that my rear blinker on one side had broken off, not from being hit on anything, but just from pure vibrations when I was taking it up in the mountains off-road. And I had Gorilla glued it, and that had lasted for a very, very long time. At least 1,800 miles on this trip, about 1,800 miles. But now, this is what we got. My little dangly rear turn signal here. So, my mission is gonna be get back home without getting a ticket or getting cited for having a faulty turn signal with just these items. I think the Klondike will just be for me, but these other items that I picked up at the convenience store here when I got some gas, conveniently I think I can make those work, at least to get me home to Colorado, but it seems like maybe Gorilla Glue is not a long-term solution. I probably just need to get a new part ordered and get that installed. So we're gonna work on a little jury rig project here while I'm taking a break. So we did the glue right there where it was broken after getting the old glue off, and we've done the Gorilla tape across the top and bottom, trying to help secure it in place. It was starting to hold pretty well because it was the super glue version of Gorilla Glue, so it started to hold right away, but it's supposed to cure for 24 hours, so I'm not sure if this tape will be enough to get it through all the vibrations of freeway speeds or what's going to be happening there. So we'll see how that goes. I've got about 2 hours of riding left, so that'll be a good test to see if this is potentially going to be sufficient to get me back home, or if we're going to have to figure out a different solution. Okay, so with the repair made, it's now about 4:48. I've got about 2 hours of driving to go. The sun is supposed to set at about 7:11. So this might be the first time on any of the travel days that I've actually arrived at the hotel in the daylight, which would be nice. So I'm going to get on the bike and see if I can do that. Okay, well, the sun is setting, but we did officially get here in the daytime. So this is the first time this trip that I've been able to get to the hotel while the sun is still up, although just barely so. So now let's have a check and see how did our Rear turn signal due. It is still intact. It lasted for 2 hours. I have another idea if this doesn't work or didn't work. I've got another idea to reinforce that came to me, so we can have a backup plan as well. But for now, that's hanging in there. Hopefully it can make it for about, I think I have about 7 or 8 hours of riding tomorrow, so a little more than that with some breaks. In keeping with things falling apart now, this helmet tends to fall apart right here, and it's trying to do that again now. There's a way to hook this back up inside, so it shouldn't be a big deal, but feels like today is just a day for things to fall apart. I've been pushing the bike pretty hard here for quite a ways. We've gone 1,300 miles there and half the way back, a little more than half the way back now, so she's been working hard. So we'll see how she looks and feels tomorrow. So far, she is hanging in there with just a little bit of challenge with that tail light. So it's actually very convenient. I got here while the sun was still out. I had to get the tools out under the seat from my bike. Thankfully, when I was doing the weight reduction on my bike, I wasn't foolish enough to get rid of the tools. It's a common thing that people take off, thinking they'll never need them, but you never know when you're going to need to do a little roadside maintenance or something. I've already used it then to tighten up the racks for the top case, and now here I got my tools out there. That's the screwdriver that comes with the bike tools, and I actually had to rescrew that screw and this one here, and now this other top plug thing is going to go in here and secure that. I'll have to check the other side as well. So all sorts of little minor tasks to keep my bike and my gear running through the end of this trip. All right, hard to show this with one hand, but that'll flip open like so, and back down, almost good as new. All right, well, I'm going to try to get some rest and get up early tomorrow for the trip back. It'll be my final day. I will actually get a late start. I have actually a work meeting I've got to run in the morning, although we're also getting a bonus hour tomorrow because right now we are in Central Time and Colorado is in Mountain Time. So we are going to get a bonus hour to make up for the meeting I have to run tomorrow morning. All should be well. Thanks for watching.